Hey, good morning. So you want to know why MLK streets are located in the worst parts of town? Easy. It's because everything's racist, much like your comment. But this is a teachable moment, so follow along and pause to read. First up, early zoning laws, which were created by racist white people when the Supreme Court said you can't discriminate against black people. So they created zoning codes to skirt the law and to continue to discriminate against black people. Then there's expulsive zoning. Then there's redlining, which was literally a red line drawn on the map. And that red line made sure that you could not build wealth through home ownership. Then there was the 1949 Housing Act and urban renewal, or as James Baldwin called it, black removal, which led to the construction of interstates through black and brown communities, which actively displaced millions of non-white people. And to keep black people out of white spaces, they made sure bridges were low enough where city buses couldn't get through to bring black people to the white sides of town. And after all of that, we ended up with white flight. Now, even though everybody in the city paid taxes, most of the money went to beautifying and the upkeep of the white parts of town, often at the expense and neglect of the black parts of town. So how can you tell which part of town is which? Well, they often use streets named after Dr. King as a line of demarcation to show that that's the black part of town and that's not. Now, all of that can fall under the umbrella of structural racism, and the beautification of the white parts of town at the expense of the black parts of town is known as environmental racism, and part of the reason you have seasonal allergies today. You see, planting trees, shrubs, and flowers not only beautified their neighborhoods and kept them cool during the summer, it also increased the amount of pollen in the area. While black neighborhoods had fewer trees, more concrete, and were closer to the interstate, we ended up with higher cases of asthma. And due to the lack of trees, green spaces, and more concrete in black neighborhoods, it would often flood during the rainy season, and it was hotter in the summer than it was in the white parts of town. Now, white city planners didn't want to plant fruit trees because 1, fruits make mess, and 2, they didn't want homeless people eating the fruit from the trees and messing up their aesthetic. So confused white men planted male trees like ginkgo, juniper, and cottonwoods because they made pollen and not fruit. They even created lists of approved trees to ensure that you were following in their confusion. And since it's more difficult to grow trees from seed, they would often clone them, and the ones that were cloning were mostly males. Now, trees aren't like human beings who come in only male and female. They come in male, female, and everything in between. These were trees and plants that were used to beautify and cool white spaces. Which is how racism, classism, botanical sexism, and male plants jizzing pollen in confined spaces led to your seasonal allergies, and is why MLK streets are often in the worst parts of town. I hope that answers all of your racist, disingenuous questions. And if it doesn't, well, bless your heart. We praying for you.